Salutations everybody, it is Matty here today, and welcome to a very interesting Fallout news update. Today we are going to be talking about Fallout 3. Now obviously we're well aware of Fallout 3 from Bethesda Game Studios, the open world, first-person RPG set in the Capital Wasteland. Good times were had there. Then some of you may be familiar with the canceled Fallout 3 that came from Interplay. It was referred to as Van Buren, and it was a project that took place after Fallout 2's release in 1998. Basically, it was a isometric RPG and something I don't think a lot of modern Fallout fans would find all that appealing overall. Still though, the idea was great. There's actually leaked scripts for it. You can read the full story for the game, and I believe it's actually being remade by modders right now to resurrect the title. Anyway, it turns out that there was a second canceled version of Fallout 3 coming from Interplay that you guys are definitely going to want to know about, because this story, man, it's actually shocking that we're just hearing about this now. So allow me to get to reading. There will be a link to the information in the description down below. When talking to IGN, Fergus Urquhart, CEO of Obsidian Entertainment, revealed that the developer worked on two canceled Fallout 3 projects from the time between Fallout 2's release in 1998 and the release of Fallout 3, the one that I was referring to earlier. One of these was more widely known as the canceled Van Buren Fallout 3 project, but what we didn't know is that there was another which was more closer to the release of Fallout 2, which actually went on to become 2000's Icewind Dale. So Icewind Dale is more of what you'd expect from Interplay at the time, that overhead isometric RPG, more strategy focused, rather than what we see in the current Fallout 3 that's out now, which is that open world RPG. Urquhart noted that while the previous Fallout games were in 2D, Black Isle Studios wanted to bring Fallout into the 3D world with its next installment. Urquhart adds, now 3D was the cool stuff, so we were going to move from being a 2D engine and be a 3D engine. And so we actually started working with this 3D technology called NDL. According to Urquhart, the team was making progress on the game, but it was during a period when its publisher, Interplay, was in a time of financial struggle. Ultimately, this led to the creation of Icewind Dale rather than Fallout 3. Urquhart adds that he saw the whole situation as an opportunity to develop a dungeon crawling RPG that would serve well as a counterpoint to Baldur's Gate. And so just like that, the Fallout 3 team transformed into the Icewind Dale team. So they actually abandoned a 3D open world sensed Fallout game in exchange for Icewind Dale. Here's where things take a turn for the interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Lastly, Urquhart notes that the aforementioned 3D engine NDL actually wound up being purchased by Gamebryo, which coincidentally was later used to power the Bethesda developed Fallout 3. Essentially what this is suggesting is that the technology being used, the ideas that Interplay had, Bethesda had adopted and used to create their own open Fallout game in 3D. What I find most interesting about this piece of news is a lot of Fallout fans want Fallout to actually go back to the isometric point of view because they feel that'll bring back its true RPG roots. And I wonder what this article says to them as fans as they look at this and think, wow, the developers that are idolized for creating the wonderful franchise that is Fallout had plans of taking it 3D and more open, just like Bethesda did. Still, I'd love to hear more about this canceled version of Fallout. I know that Fergus Urquhart is very cool about that stuff. He was also talking in this interview about his canceled Aliens game he did, and he said he wanted to reach out to Sega and see if they could release some canceled game footage on that. So he's very open with that, where I'm hoping at some point in time, much like with Van Buren, we could actually hopefully see some of this 3D Fallout 3 that was canceled, because I'd love to see exactly what they were working with. Is it maybe just more of a linear 3D Fallout? Was that what they were thinking? Where Bethesda Game Studios released theirs much later afterwards, where they had the chance to utilize that technology and make a big open world at the time. As I said though, it's quite shocking to find out that there was a second version of a Fallout 3 canceled, one that lines up more with Bethesda Game Studios, seeming that that was the direction of the franchise no matter who its hands ended up in. It also makes you question what the fate of Interplay would have been if they pulled almost a Morrowind like Bethesda Game Studios did and said, no, we're going all in on this Fallout project, let's go out swinging, and they released this Fallout 3. How Fallout would have ended up? Would it have brought Interplay to the top again, or would they have just failed anyway, and then Bethesda would have ended up with the license and they would have just had a Fallout 5 at this point in time because it already would have been a 3? It's very interesting to ponder about how things could have went with the Fallout license and how things have ended up today. But anyway, I'd love to get your thoughts on this in the comments down below, so be sure to share your thoughts with me. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook, the links are in the description down below. Be sure to consider supporting my Patreon. It fuels all the content we create on the channel here. Other than that, stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.